Welcome to Normal Ireland Live. My name's Curtis Daly, and I'm so excited. I'm joined by Louisa Munch. Louisa, your first time on the show this year. How has 2026 treated you so far?
Not bad. Hopefully, I'm at the very end of my PhD, so hopefully it's a good start. And yeah, exciting times.
Yeah, not too long to go, and then you can finally move on from that. I don't envy you, but I'm really excited that you're on tonight's show. You're going to provide some top quality analysis as you do. I've been watching you. You're everywhere. You're on the BBC now. You're moving up in the world.
I know, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing either, so I'm as surprised as you.
Fake it till you make it. That's all I say. This is what we've got coming up on tonight's show. Labour continues infighting after blocking Andy Burnham. That's great for them. Starmer wants to attack the Greens on antisemitism, and Reform councillor show support for ICE after Alex Pretty killing. You can help us grow by visiting turnleftmedia.co.uk/support to help fund our work, or by becoming a YouTube member. But on with the show and on to our first story. It's been a weekend full of drama for the Labour Party as Andy Burnham's campaign to become Galton and Denton's MP was cut short after 24 hours. Yet it seems civil war has broken out with the party. It first started with a tweet thread from Burnham. I'm disappointed by today's NEC decision and concerned about its potential impact on the important elections ahead of us. To whoever is Labour's candidate and to our members in Manchester and Tameside, you will have my full support and I will be there whenever you need me. Tomorrow, I return with full focus to my role as Mayor of Greater Manchester, defending everything we've built in our city region over many years. I decided to put myself forward to prevent the divisive politics of reform from damaging that. We are stronger together, and let's stay that way. The fact that the media was informed of the NEC decision before I was tells you everything you need to know about the way the Labour Party is being run these days. You would think that over 30 years of service would count for something, but sadly not. This then prompted a source from the party to claim that the manner in which Burnham found out the NEC blocked him was false. Beth Rigby tweeted, Labour source said last night it's categorically untrue that the party briefed before Burnham was informed, but this morning, sources close to Burnham tells me news via Pippa Crerar on X at 11:56am, and Burnham received a call from the party at 12:12 and an email from 12:20. Clearly, very bad blood over all of this. Labour's Douglas Alexander claimed on the BBC Breakfast that if Burnham was allowed to stand, all the attention would be looking at the internal Labour Party politics.
If a different decision had been taken yesterday, I think it's perfectly plausible that we would have had months of psychodrama. Who's in, who's out, who's up, who's down in Westminster. And honestly, I think that's the kind of conversations that the public absolutely hate. They want politicians focused on their priorities rather than on other politicians' ambitions. And in that sense, it gives us an opportunity to focus on the job in hand.
Despite everything you've said, the reality is that he has in fact been blocked from essentially, eventually, potentially running against Keir Starmer as Labour Party leader.
No, actually, the judgment that was reached by the National Executive Committee officers yesterday was that now is not the time for what they judged an unnecessary by-election. But listen, Andy said yesterday he'd been out of Parliament for 9 years. I was out of Parliament for 9 years and was elected in July 2024. If Andy wants to stand in the future, I very much hope that he would stand for Westminster. He's an immensely talented and likeable politician who's doing a brilliant job for Manchester. The judgment that was made yesterday was that the timing is not right now, given the fact it would create a by-election in the mayoralty of Manchester. But if Andy wants to stand in the future, I'm sure people would look on it with a great deal of favour.
People said that I'm sounded out of sync, so I've slightly changed my audio. I hope it's fixed it. Now, look, if Labour thought that blocking Andy Burnham... excuse me. If Labour thought that blocking Andy Burnham would mean the story is over and they can move on, it seems they miscalculated. Multiple MPs have now spoken out against Keir Starmer and the party, including Leeds East Labour MP Richard Bergen.
Like a lot of Labour MPs, not just on the left, by the way, and like a lot of Labour members and Labour councillors and Labour voters, I'm utterly flabbergasted and appalled by what the Prime Minister has pushed through. Because what's happened is a nasty factionism through banning Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Greater Manchester, from standing in a Greater Manchester seat in this parliamentary by-election, has taken priority over beating reform. Everyone knows that Andy Burnham is best placed to beat reform in this important parliamentary by-election. The real challenge we face as a Labour government is ensuring we don't have what I would consider to be the first far-right government in our country's history. And so for the Prime Minister to intervene and push through an NEC officer's vote of voting to ban Andy Burnham beggars belief. And it risks not only a real gift to reform, and it is a gift to reform, it risks not only reform winning the parliamentary by-election, keeping up their momentum, unfortunately, it also risks Labour even coming third. We saw that in the Caerphilly by-election, where people took the conclusion that Plaid Cymru were the party to vote for to stop reform. So it's a real mess. What needs to happen is this decision needs to be overturned, and it needs to be overturned quickly so we can focus on actually winning this important parliamentary by-election.
I mean, people complain about my audio. I mean, Richard Bergen sounds like he's speaking on potato. Yes, bear with us. It's the software we use, but it's all browser-based. But if you support us, we get a studio. We can have a proper one. This is crazy stuff. I mean, I find it very funny. We've got Labour figures saying that, you know what, we don't want to be inward-looking, and if we were to allow Andy Burnham to stand, then it'll all be about internal Labour politics. But it's happening now. You've angered people. You've got Richard Bergen, you've got other MPs saying, well, actually, Keir Starmer is playing a faction stitch-up and not allowing Andy Burnham to stand. And questions are going to rise about Keir Starmer. So they've added more media attention. Of course, they need to create an excuse for this because at the end of the day, this is about Starmer making sure that Andy Burnham isn't a candidate because it's quite clear he doesn't want to be replaced. Now that Burnham won't be the Labour candidate, attention has turned to the Green Party, with even Ladbrokes having them as the favourites. So at the top, the Green Party, the favourite with 13-8. Labour Reform are actually tied. But it's a clear favourite in terms of Ladbrokes, right? And what I find strange is when it comes to predictions, why do the betting companies always do a pretty good job of it? Now, looking at the demographics of Gorton and Denton, in terms of age, the average in the constituency is 46.5 years, which is lower than the national average of 49.6. 11% are aged between 16 and 24, 1% higher than the average. 14% aged 25 to 34, again 1% more than average. And 21% are aged 35 to 49, which is 3% more than the average. Given that the Greens are the most popular party for under 50s, this is good for them. Over 65s are, over 65s are underrepresented with 12.6%, whilst the national average is 19.1%. A good sign for the Greens and something that will work against reform. Looking at demographics based on religion, the seat has a high Muslim population, which could work well in the Green Party, given their policy on Palestine compared to Reform and the Labour Party. However, it's not a foregone conclusion that the Greens will win all the support from Muslims, as the Workers' Party will also be standing, and they usually garner a lot of support from them. It's worth noting that the Muslim vote suggested Muslims vote for the Greens back in the 2024 general election. A big boost for the Greens over the Workers' Party in terms of winning over the Muslim vote is the Green Party Deputy Leader Mohsin Ali, who has put himself forward for the seat. This was confirmed by Ava Santina from Politics Joe. Green co-deputy leader puts himself forward for Greater Manchester by-election. Now, I actually believe that Laura Beveridge was the one to break this information. Santina also said this. Upset from local Greens, fears this would be a parachute candidate, and anxiety over whether a Yorkshireman could win in Manchester. I think these are all genuine questions to ask. I mean, Mohsin Ali is not quite local. He's from Leeds, that's where I live, actually. But he's still from the north. And of course, this is a little bit different than a sort of Keir Starmer style parachute, because ultimately, the Green Party members will decide who the candidate is. Mohsin Ali can put himself forward. Other names, such as Hannah Spencer, is hotly tipped to announce her run, and she's even more local to the area. But the membership will decide. So even if Mohsin Ali is the candidate, and again, I think he'd be a very good candidate, very good working class voice, which, by the way, criticisms of the Green Party in the past is that they've been too middle class. He's a strong working class voice. The membership will decide. So there is an element of democracy. Potentially, though, this could be harmful for Ali, because let's say he has thrown his hat into the ring. Hannah Spencer or someone else throws their hat into the ring, and the membership decides to go with them. I'm worried that the media are going to be like, whoa, Mohsin Ali, you're clearly not a very good candidate if the membership doesn't want you. Of course, there's a abundance of reasons, and the membership may decide to go with someone else because they're more local. But you know what the media like? They're going to be like, well, you're clearly not good enough. So it could be a potential blow. Now, we reached out to Mohsin Ali for comment, and he said, this will be a critical election where as Greens we face the threat of reform head on. In a diverse community like Gorton and Denton, we must offer a politics of hope, of real action against the climate crisis, and standing up for working people, as I know the Green Party can. I'll take that message and that determination where it is wanted. The demographic makeup of Gorton and Denton being favourable to the Greens is bad news for the Labour Party. But not just because there's a good chance they will lose the seat after blocking Burnham, but above all, they do not want the Greens to win, and that's they find a Reform victory preferable. A Reform win would be terrible, said a sometime advisor to the leadership, but a Green win would be existential. So cue, obviously, all the evidence where we said on the left that the Labour Party hates the left out of any political faction. That is basically your proof there. They would rather Reform win a by-election than the Greens did. Which means, if you were to ask them, I mean, they wouldn't be honest about it, but internally they're probably thinking, we would rather a Reform government than a Green one. Something I believe that to be the case. Now, if you were to say that, you're going to get a bunch of Labourites and Starmerites say, don't be preposterous. That's ridiculous. I mean, you're crazy. You're just a hard left idiot. Well, you've got insiders saying the Greens winning is worse than Reform. Now, Labour are supposed to be a progressive party. They're supposed to agree with the Greens on more things. And nominally, they do. People inside the Labour Party have lots of agreements with the Greens, whereas Reform and Labour supposedly don't agree. But again, it sort of mirrors what happened to Jeremy Corbyn. They much preferred a Boris Johnson Conservative majority than a Jeremy Corbyn victory. Go back to Tony Blair. He made a speech when Jeremy Corbyn was Labour leader very early on. He said, if we could win on a left-wing ticket, I wouldn't take it. If they could win, they wouldn't take it. Louisa, has Labour just paved the way for Reform or the Green Party to win the by-election?
I mean, I hope not, but I am very worried about this, to be honest. I mean, I hope that obviously they paved the way for the Greens, but what I am worried about is obviously Reform taking this seat, because we have seen a lot of by-elections in Manchester go this way, particularly where I'm from in Rochdale. We do have a very high Muslim population, and we have like a young population, and the statistics don't translate into that green vote, which is what concerns me the most. I mean, obviously we need to be optimistic, but what I'm most concerned about as well is that this decision by the NEC is just once again proving how anti-democratic this system is anyway. Everybody knows that, you know, if Andy Burnham run for that seat, it was most likely that he would win, because he's probably the only kind of saving grace of Labour at this point, I think, and an answer that they could have towards like the progressive left potentially. I mean, I did interview him, and he was on board with well taxes, which makes it very disappointing that he's obviously not, that he's been blocked. But again, it speaks to this idea that this kind of party politics is managerial. It's not representative of people, because Keir Starmer voted against, he himself has voted against Andy Burnham being able to run. And he knew that would that he would pose an alternative. And the problem with the left is, and with Labour, is the fact that there has been no alternative. So they are really shooting themselves in the foot here. And when you get this kind of like anti-democratic, disenchantment, disillusionment with politics, that I think this decision what will come out of this decision, then that really works into Reform's hand, because they are the party that is meant to be anti-establishment, and this is what this narrative is feeding into. So I am concerned that Reform will get this seat, and I hope not. But I think we can't become complacent about it, and yeah, I'm hopeful though.
Do you know what? I mean, I've sort of changed my view on this. When Labour blocked Andy Burnham, I was like, this is a gift to Reform. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely boosted them. But when I look at the demographics, it's perfect for the Greens. Big metropolitan city, student population, it's typically younger, Muslim population. This is the perfect base for the Green Party. So I do think they have a really good shot. And I do think they should throw everything at it. I still maintain my position that Zach should not run in that seat. He's not going to. Of course, you spoke to Andy Burnham last year. He is a very strange politician. There's a joke about Andy Burnham. A Corbynite, a Brownite, and a Blairite walks into the bar, and the barman says, "What you having, Burnham?" Andy Burnham, and that's a criticism and a praise in a way. It's criticism because what does he really stand for?
Yeah.
But it's a praise because so many people at the top of the Labour Party are stuck in the 90s, right? They're stuck with Blairism, whereas I do think Burnham has the integrity to at least change his politics. I do genuinely believe him. Now, this is a guy who voted for the Iraq War and PFI. He has a Blairite history, but I do genuinely think that his politics are slightly moulded in order to serve the party as a whole. Maybe I'm being too nice, or maybe I'm giving excuses for him, but I do think, especially under Jeremy Corbyn's leadership, he never tapped in the back. I mean, he could have spoken up for him at times, but he didn't join in the chicken coup. I do think it's changed. And then you're telling me when you interviewed him, he's talking about wealth taxes. Give me a bit of insight with your conversation with him about his wider politics now, you think?
Well, obviously, I'm from Manchester, and he has done a lot as mayor. He's got all the bus service under like council now, so that we have like £2 buses. He's actually done a lot for the city, and people do really like him as mayor. And I think that does really speak to his politics, like this kind of idea of like nationalising things, which I'd hope. That's what made me hopeful as well about him potentially being able to run. And when I did ask him about wealth taxes, like he didn't have to come that day. I was with the Patriotic Millionaires, and we were just doing this campaign around the country, and they had this big bus that had said, tax us the super rich. And Andy Burnham came down to be pictured in front of the bus and to come and speak to us. And he was insistent that, the people in this country, especially down in London and places like that, are not paying their fair share, and that there did need to be a complete reform of that of the tax system. Which again, he can say that because he's mayor, and this sort of thing wasn't, he's not going to get held to it, but.
Yeah.
It was it did take me by surprise. I thought it would be a little bit more, I don't know, like tentative than that. But he was quite direct about it, which I thought was really positive. So obviously I was disappointed.
Okay, quickly, what are your thoughts about Labour insiders? I mean, saying they're more worried about a Green victory of a Reform one. I'm not surprised that's their position, but they've just kind of admitted that. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think they can sort of put off a vote for Reform as like a protest vote, but a vote for the Greens is existential because it shows that sort of centrist party politics is over. There is no middle ground, and there's no space for them anymore. And I think that's probably why they're so worried about it. And at the end of the day, it's also showing that they are not left. If you're going to vote for the left, then you're going to vote for the Greens, and they don't even provide any alternative or an option. People don't even know what they're voting for when they vote for Labour, other than, well, I'd imagine the same, because that's what we've seen in the last couple of years. So, or the last however long it's been, it feels like years. But yeah, I think that's probably why.
Yeah, good. Let's move on, and we're sticking with the Labour Party as well. It's quite a Labour focus on the first two stories, anyway. But on to our second story. The Labour Party is getting desperate. Keir Starmer now wants the party to increase attacks on the Greens, specifically anti-Semitism. The Prime Minister believes the public remains largely unaware of the party leader's opposition to the UK's membership of NATO or his support for giving up the country's nuclear weapons. Labour is also expected to target the Greens' record on anti-Semitism after Deputy Leader Mohsin Ali was criticised over comments he made about Zachariah Deutsch, a Leeds-based rabbi and Israeli Defence Force reservist. Under his leadership, the Greens have become a hotbed of anti-Semitism and economic incompetence that would make Britain defenceless, drug-addled and bankrupt within a week. So, what exactly did Mohsin Ali say about Deutsch? Speaking to the BBC, Ali called for Rabbi Deutsch and anyone who participates in a genocide to be investigated by the police. In September, the Times newspaper reported external that Rabbi Deutsch left his Leeds home under advice from West Yorkshire Police following a deluge of threats linked to his work with the IDF. That's supposed to be an example of anti-Semitism. And by the way, I'm glad that Mohsin Ali didn't apologise, because this person is linked to the IDF. The IDF, which is committing a genocide. So, of course you should be attacking this person. And, by the way, I find it very ironic. We've got the pro-Israel Zionists, the right-wingers saying that West Yorkshire Police, they're actually in bed with Islamists with the whole sort of Maccabi Tel Aviv saga. Well, here's West Yorkshire Police aiding a literal IDF member. It is obviously the right thing to do, because this person, and we don't know the involvement to the extent of the IDF, but just saying that you're a supporter of the IDF is basically saying, I'm a supporter of terrorism. And the Labour Party are essentially weaponising anti-Semitism. I mean, the way they've done it, they've not said, look, here's a litany of things that the Greens have done which is anti-Semitic. They've said, actually, we're going to attack the Greens on anti-Semitism. It's like, it clearly feels like weaponisation. Disgusting stuff. And I'm not surprised that, and I'm not saying you should go out and do violent threats, but I'm not surprised that people are angry that a local resident in Leeds is linked to the IDF. Again, they kill children, they murder children, they're committing a fucking genocide. Louisa, the attack line against the Greens in regards to NATO, I mean, that could potentially work. Britain is very pro-NATO. I think it kind of works when attacking reform, right? Obviously, the Greens' position on NATO is far more nuanced, right? But accusing the party of being a hotbed of anti-Semitism, I mean, where have we heard that before? What do you make of this?
Well, of course, we've heard it when Corbyn was head of the Labour Party. And I think, again, surely this isn't going to work. Surely we know that what happened to Jeremy Corbyn was, bad faith, and it was weaponisation. And I'm really hoping this can't be used again. Now we've already seen like the repercussions of what happened last time, and there's no excuse for it now. It shouldn't be used as a card. Like you said, we know it's a genocide, and it's very different to discussing the IDF and anti-Semitism. Is completely different conversation. This isn't about religion. This hasn't been about religion. This has been about a fascist government that's killing children. And that shouldn't be used as a card or a weapon to criticize a political party. I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not going to work. I mean, we say this a lot because, of course, when it came to the anti-Semitism accusations under Jeremy Corbyn, a lot of people sort of felt there's no smoke without fire. Of course, as someone who's documented this for years, it was actually smoke without fire, or fire without smoke, whatever you want to call it. But since the 7th of October, the way in which Israel has defended itself, the way in which it's accused Miss Rachel of anti-Semitism for simply saying, I don't want kids to die, people have woken up to that fact. So I think, once again, it puts Labour in a position which they're out of touch, and people are surely not going to buy it. I mean, to pivot to the NATO stuff, do you think that could gain traction? People take national security very seriously. Given what's been going on globally, do you think this is a potential weakness for the Greens in terms of the way they're perceived? I mean, by the way, I would argue that actually, like, what's happened with Donald Trump is only bolstered Zach Plansley's argument. But I'd be interested to know what you think.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to have this conversation about NATO and what their purpose is at this point. Like, I think the whole idea of this one nation, it's very Three Musketeers, isn't it? NATO, and we should be calling into question whether or not we this is going to work or this is working as a system, because it clearly is not. Donald Trump has happily, freely gone into other countries and is threatening other countries, and we're not seeing NATO step up like it should. We're not seeing NATO do any job or any, follow through on any promise that that they're based on. So I think, I hope that this, even if it just starts this conversation about something that has felt untouchable for a very long time, this allyship and what we really need going forward. I don't know if anyone saw Matt Carney's speech about how we need to stop being so nostalgic about like the old social order and old alliances, and really start to think about the new and the future, and stop with the sort of pandering to these ideas and pandering to leaders, just like, obviously everybody, that's the one thing you do with Donald Trump, it's appeal to his ego, and just start calling out these things, because otherwise I feel like these institutions, these allyships and alliances are meaningless.
I think you pose a really good point, which is that there needs to be a conversation about this. It's kind of strange that, look, NATO is something that sort of there's no democratic sort of participation in the reason why we joined. Again, I'm not saying that we need to leave NATO straight away, but I think it's important we have these discussions. And Zach Polanski, in a way, has brought up that discussion, because the way Donald Trump is acting does call into the question what the hell's going on in terms of NATO, what our role should be. Should we have a new alliance with Europe? I think these are all important questions. I think it's, again, I think my policy in terms of like leaving NATO straight away will be something that would not be sort of sold to the public very easily. I don't think that's something the Greens should pursue for now. But I do think having a question about NATO alliances is important. I'm glad you brought up Mark Carney as well. Really interesting speech. And a lot of people are saying, do you know what, it wasn't that good of a speech. I mean, we've heard a bunch of leftists say better things. But the point is it was delivered by an establishment liberal politician, right? You can find far more passionate and, better quality speeches in this area. But I think it shows the shift in the global power in the fact that Mark Carney, someone who's, again, very much of the liberal establishment, was saying that. It's very interesting. Glad you brought that up. Let's leave that story there. Before we go into our final story, I just want to say it is 2026, as you've already noticed, and this year is going to be huge for Turn Up. I know it. We've got plans in the works, which is going to be honestly fantastic, things we've never done before, and we want to be more ambitious. We want 2026 to be the year we have a studio. Now, obviously, to explain what's going on with the software, a lot of people ask, what software are you using? Do this, do that. We don't have much control of the software. It's a browser-based software. So we have very basic control over it. And the reason why we use a browser-based software is because we don't have a studio, so we're doing this all online. The producer's not in the same building as us. Once we have a studio, we can have a software-based, a downloaded software system, which means the producer's in the same room, you have full control. We can control like the syncing issues, the quality, all that. So we really do want a studio. And of course, it'd be amazing to have contributors and guests in the studio too. Of course, we want to be paid for the work we do as well. We've been doing this for years, and still we don't really take any money. I mean, the money goes to a budget, which goes to interviews, goes to train tickets, whatever. But we don't make any money personally. But your support has been amazing over the years, really amazing. And we've got a fantastic community. We've got a Discord chat that people are joining. And we love you guys. But we want to take this to the next level. Of course, we rely on small donations. So if you want to be part of a media organisation that seeks to destroy the oligarchs, then please head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There you can support us monthly on Patreon, or there is another link for a one-time contribution. You can also become a YouTube member for 99p. Well, on to our final story. The Patriotic Reform Party have once again shown themselves to be pro-America as a councillor expressed his support for ICE following the murder of Alex Prentice in Minneapolis. And this is him tweeting, Joseph Bowen, the councillor, by the way, tweeting a picture of "I stand with ICE." Now, after facing backlash, Councillor Burnham doubled down and he said, "For the people that don't support ICE, are you suggesting that the UK should not enforce its immigration law? When I said I support ICE's work, I mean that I support the enforcement of immigration law, which is the task of immigration control and enforcement, aka ICE. That is what I stand by." I mean, he stands by it so much that it seems like he's deleted his tweet. I tried finding the original one and I only have a screenshot. The problem with ICE, right, the big thing is that they don't follow the law. So this guy is trying to say, I support ICE because we need to legally enforce our immigration law. But ICE breaks the law. I mean, wake up, bro. I mean, they're killing people on the street. That's not lawful. They are, I mean, people compared them to the Gestapo. Ben McLean says compared them to the SS, which is probably more apt, or the SA. They're constantly going into communities and terrorizing them and murdering people. I mean, it's insane. Once again, these reform people are cucks. My favorite word of the year, cucks. To America and power. It's so pathetic. Now, Councillor Burnham has had a track record for saying some pretty vile stuff. Last year, Hope Not Hate exposed some worrying social media posts shared by Mr. Burnham, as well as other figures in Reform UK. His now deleted X account, which used the name Lord Joseph Burnham, Christ, get a life, he regularly tweeted and retweeted Andrew Tate, the self-proclaimed misogynist charged with rape, human trafficking, and forming an organised crime group to sexually exploit women. According to the charity, he also retweeted messages like "resist the slave mind" and tweeted "hello Mr. Tate" with an emoji of a goat, meaning greatest of all time. After Tate was removed from numerous social media platforms, Burnham retweeted another account saying, "Andrew Tate has been banned from Instagram and Facebook. Free speech is dead. The world is dead." Now, Reform and the right wing have often focused on irregular migrants. They call them illegal. The actual term is irregular migrants, as it's some kind of existential threat. But the numbers suggest otherwise. Government data shows that in the year ending March 2025, there were 44,125 detected irregular arrivals. Now, to put that into perspective, 44,125 is 0.0637% of the UK population of 69.3 million, right? Not 1%, excuse me, not 1%, not 0.1%, but 0.637%. Yet Joseph Burnham wants to support ICE, which is an organisation that is kidnapping, murdering and terrorising local communities. Louisa, once again, we are seeing the British right act like bootlickers to US power, Reform included. Now, with the de-Yankification movement, do you think people are finally waking up to their fake patriotism?
I mean, I hope so. I don't know how much longer they can sustain these contradictions within this party. They obviously, Nigel Farage is trying to distance himself from Donald Trump because everybody is quite aware how, sort of strange this situation is and how authoritarian it is going. But these people that saying they'll stand by ICE, like, ICE will not stand by you. These people are out there for themselves. This is pure will to power. And if we don't tackle that and we don't call that into question, then we have a huge problem. I think we really need to think about what Reform want to do and how they're thinking about ICE, because this is blatant authoritarianism. Like we can't allow this to happen, or the conversation even to continue. It needs to be shut down.
Yeah, and I think it's look, obviously for us, I don't consider anyone illegal. Oh my god, I'm woke, whatever. The majority of the country does see illegal immigration as a problem. I put the numbers out there, right? 0.6%. It's not an issue, but people do think that. But what I would say is majority of people will go, we should do something about illegal immigration, but we don't want secret police going around and gunning people. No. And Reform, once again, are extremely out of touch. And I personally think that that's something that is almost a step too far, where people go, hang on a second, we've just seen what ICE are doing. I mean, a lot of people in this country know how brutal the police are. I would say the majority of people don't want our police to be like Americans' police, right? We don't see American culture as we don't think highly of American culture, I don't think. And Reform, who are trying to be the sort of patriotic, we love Britain, want to sort of copy America. I think that is pushing them out of step with a lot of people, and people might be thinking, do you know what, I don't know about this. I mean, we're looking at Reform polling. They're going down. Of course, Suella Braverman, sort of separate side note, Suella Braverman's just joined the Reform Party, and no, I didn't write about it tonight because I just thought it was irrelevant. It is irrelevant. It's just the Tory Party. Do you think Reform are starting to make mistakes? At the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, we're doing fantastic political campaigning, I think. Disagree with them. Fantastic political campaigning. Really capitalising over Labour's fallen support. This year, I don't know, they're making really, really strange decisions. Councillors supporting ICE, bringing on ex-Tory, not just MPs and backbench MPs and councillors, ex-Tory ministers, the same ministers in which Reform have attacked them, saying they've destroyed this country, and they're bringing them on. Yeah. So do you think the Reform are almost like running out of steam?
Well, yeah, I think, I'm hoping they peaked. They peaked last year, and they've spoken to this powerlessness, but I think, I just don't think they can hold these contradictions for much longer. Like, you have that people are seeing what happens when you have authoritarian nationalism in the US, and they're thinking that is not what we want. And Nigel Farage himself has had to come out and say what Donald Trump is doing, not in terms of ICE, but in terms of invading other countries, isn't acceptable. So I think that's driving a wedge between people, because generally they are on the same side. Like, people understand that Reform are on the same side as Donald Trump's, MAGA, and it's the same project of return. It's the same project of of nostalgia and make America great again and take back our borders and take back control. Like, maybe that movement backwards isn't going to work, and maybe we are going towards dangerous territory. So I do think that fragmentation is starting to happen, and that's what we're starting to see. I definitely hope it is.
I don't want to call it straight away and say they've peaked or anything, because you never know what can happen. It'd be interesting to see what happens at this by-election. Seeing what happened in Caerphilly was very heartening. Plaid Cymru smashing them out of the park. But I hope they have peaked, but it remains to be seen. Let's leave that story there, and let's bring in our producer. As you all know, it's Sarah Delau for your comments. Sarah, how you doing?
Hello. How are we? Sorry. How many times do I have to say hello?
Was that a delay there? I was a bit confused. I was like, no, I think
it's because I can't. No, it's actually just me delayed, just generally in life. But so what a great bloody show! Oh my god, I've been enjoying it. I've been chit-chatting in the comments. It's been really nice. So let's just go to our oh, that's jokes. Sorry, let me just start that. That actually made me laugh. So let me just go to super chats. Thank you so much for the donations, guys. Dominique, 110 left membership. Specs, 510 left memberships. Thank you. Andrina, 510 left memberships. Thank you so much. Michael Ledger. Sorry, I'm going through these really quickly. Michael, 110 left membership. Thank you so much. Really, really wonderful. Thank you so much, guys. And we've had a really excellent show. Like, really, really great.
The numbers have been good, haven't they?
Been beautiful.
Despite the tech issues.
Yeah. So I think we'll just start from bottom up. Oh, this is really lovely. Let's just start with this comment. It's very lovely. Did you start this one?
Yes, I did. I want to say hello to Max. Max, thanks for dropping by. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good to see you. Brilliant show as always. Tim said ice is only good for whiskey.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I cracked open my bottle of Lefroy last night, actually.
Cool.
Glasses of whiskey.
When did you become so established in age?
Gin and tonic, is it?
Yeah, facts. Yeah, with like, oh yeah, that's banging.
Listen, Sarah, I wear suits, right? I've got to drink whiskey. Who am I?
Yeah, who are you? So, Emo HYU, the current ICE issue is a direct consequence of the Democrats' open southern border. What do you guys think?
I mean, no, and also the America's never had open borders. I really find it so funny when right wingers globally talk about open borders and the left supporting open borders. Like, if we had open borders, or if open borders exist, then the framing illegal migrant would not exist because technically everyone is allowed into the country. There is border control. In terms of the southern border, what you might not know is Republicans completely weaponized the border policy of the Democrats. So when the Democrats were in under Joe Biden, the Democrats proposed a bill which was to tighten up their borders, quite strict border policy. In fact, actually, a lot of it was taken from Republican policies, right? Basically, the Democrats proposed a Republican strict border policy. And Republicans wanted to vote, or some want to vote for anyway. Donald Trump ordered the Republicans not to vote for this bill. The reason why is because they said, and Trump pretty much admitted, because he can't help it, the guy's got dementia, said, we don't want the border policy sorted under the Democrats because politically that's good for them. So he purposely made sure that this bill did not go through so then he could weaponize it. So to say that ICE is a direct consequence of the Democrats and the open border policy is a fallacy. Also, ICE, in terms of immigration, and ICE are two different things. I mean, this is a shoehorn into state authoritarianism, not to do with immigration. They're just killing people on the street. Louisa, sorry, I jumped in there.
Yeah, that, like, ICE is fascism. ICE is a symptom of fascism, if nothing else. Like, it's just about people feeling powerless, and they're not trained. They're not like police. They are literally people off the street who have signed up to come at ICE that have done like a few days training or whatever and been given a gun to take out this sense of powerlessness on people that has been scapegoated by their government. Like, it's nothing to do with borders. In fact, this whole conversation has nothing to do with borders. It's about powerlessness. Absolutely. It's about, it's about an economy that's failing everyone. And this whole idea of like making these little links between like immigration and ICE and borders takes away from the conversation should be about a reform of the entire economic system that is victimizing everyone, not just people like white people, immigrants, everyone. And I just, it's so frustrating, this sort of narrative.
You're so right. Really well said.
Yeah, I mean, no one forced to create ICE, right? And it's not like, oh, well, the Democrats, it's like, oh, the let's say people think, oh, the immigration policy is too liberal, right? No one like then said, okay, then our response is to act like terrorists on the streets. Okay, so this to say like, oh, well, ICE were forced to do it. No, they didn't have to. Now, by the way, ICE was created under George Bush all those years ago. Yeah. I mean, they're saying now it's about borders, ICE is for immigration. Yes, I know that it stands for immigration officers, right? But it doesn't mean that that's the reason they're doing it. They're using immigration as an excuse to clamp down on people's freedoms. That's why you've got literally ICE officers gunning down people who are filming the operations. That's why they're killing American citizens, right? First of all, if you're an immigrant, if you're illegal, right, you shouldn't be killed anyway. But they're murdering American citizens. So don't tell me this is about borders and immigration. It's not. It's an excuse for it. And if you continue to believe that, I don't know, maybe you're too far gone. Maybe I can't convince you. Abolish ICE. And not just abolish ICE. That's the moderate position. Abolish ICE and put all them fuckers on trial. And I want to see them be on bars.
They need to be held accountable, but I don't think they could spell accountability. But I don't know, like even the terms open border is just such a stupid political slogan. Like, it's not a description of anything. Like, what it usually means when people say like, oh, this open border policy. No. Just say that you disapprove of current policy around immigration, or that it's just not managed the way that you like it. Like, I think this whole, oh, we've got an open border policy is utter bullshit. Because if we had an open border policy, I wouldn't be complaining about anything when it comes to people, just free movement. But yeah, fucking wild. Diluted said, what is that that chemical H2SO4? What is that hydrosulfuric acid? I don't know.
I didn't do very well at science.
I did chemistry A level, but I don't remember anything. It's all a block because it was trauma. But Diluted said, Didn't Tate and his mates recently play that Nazi Kanye song in a club and then do the salute? Yeah, they did. Did anyone see that? Who was it that put that video in the chat? I think it was you, Curtis, where they were all singing in the little taxi on the way to the club.
Have you seen it,
Ridiculous.
Louisa?
I have heard of it. I've not seen the video though.
It's fucking weird. It's literally
wild.
like it's a couple of streamers included. Most of them are people of color. Like there's this weird new thing, right? New phenomenon, which is we're seeing more and more minorities literally posting Nazi shit.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's mostly a grift, right? It's just to get money and attention, but it's seriously fucked up.
Yeah. This is what I mean about like the anti-Semitism on the left. Like this,
Yeah, right. I know.
this has been a tradition for like hundreds of years on the right. It's just, it's just absolutely, it's ironic. Like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, don't worry about these people literally doing Nazi salutes and playing Hail Hitler, right? Did you see that someone said that killing babies is bad, therefore anti-Semitism? Did you think about that, you know?
It's like Elon Musk as well, though. You can be blatantly doing anti-Semitism, and if you're on the right, then that's just you showing how powerful you are or whatever. It's just saying the thing that isn't acceptable against this like wokeism and all. It's just completely, well, it's just dangerous because when people feel like that is power, that power is, doing Nazi salutes, then we have a huge problem, don't we?
Facts. Tim, I've picked you twice. You're making me laugh today. Trump wants Greenland, but he turned Minnesota into Iceland, and it did make me chuckle a little bit. It's so dystopian. It's so dystopian. It's so uncomfortable. It's so grotesque. Like the way that America is playing its hand at the moment is utterly wild. Like the videos we're seeing, like you were literally on GBB's yesterday, Curtis, and the woman came and said, yeah, but an ICE agent's finger got bitten off and no one's talking about that. And I was like, hello, you fucking twat. Like someone just got killed. Are you actually all right in the head? Wake up.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
glad you said
God.
that. I'm glad you said that because I think she kind of destroyed her own argument.
She
Because
did.
we came in, we're talking about how someone was quite literally murdered on the street, and the first thing she says, "Well, did you know that an ICE agent got their finger bitten off?" I'm like, "Yeah, because they're two exactly the same things."
Yeah,
I
literally.
nearly went all like that, but I didn't. I should have.
No, to be fair, you did make me laugh because I'm glad Specs clocked it. God, Curtis is so proud he called them all cucks on GBBs.
Yes,
You're like,
because
you're a cuck.
it's come from Carl Klinsky. Like, people know I'm a big fan of his, and it was that of his book, Embarrasses People, and I fucking did.
Yeah, facts. And then we also had that's a 2 on the cuck counter. It makes me laugh. It really does. Hilarious. And then Specs said being a member of the IDF seems to be, a protected characteristic in the UK, and it actually seems like it at this point, doesn't it?
But it basically is, though. I don't know if you've seen this, Louisa, but there was it was a interview with the new TikTok CEO, American guy, and he said that the term Zionist is going to be banned, or any derogatory things towards Zionism. So if you say, "Oh, I'm a Zionist," that won't be banned. If you say Zionism is bad, they're going to ban it, right? Because apparently Zionism is a protected characteristic, like being in the IDF. That is what they're doing. They're censoring people. So yes, in this country and worldwide, the IDF is seen as a protected characteristic. So fucking pathetic.
It's actually so interesting to me, though, because I've been teaching last week my students of a Syrian play about the 1967 war, and obviously between Palestine and, Israel basically attacking everybody. But I had a Jewish student in my class last year when I taught this, and she said to me, I was really, really careful because you hear all these narratives in the media and you think, oh my God, like, I don't want to say anything out of,
of course.
making them feel uncomfortable. But I was like, right, I'm going to start because surprisingly, students don't know that much about the history of Israel and Palestine. And I get it, they're young, but I was like, guys, there's a genocide going on. Let's get up to speed. But anyway, and she said to me, as I was explaining what Zionism meant, she said, it's not what people think it is. It was literally invented by a guy in the 1800s. Can't remember what his name is now. But it's kind of like, I don't know, the Mormonism of Christianity. It's like this spin-off idea that has been written and created as a new thing. It's not something that's been written in the Torah in the same sense that is being portrayed in the media. And like she was saying this to me, and I think that people don't realize that the Zionism isn't this concept that is inherent to Judaism. It's not, and I think that it's just quite a big gap that people. So I don't understand why it has to be a protected term. She herself was like, nobody in my family is a Zionist. Obviously, we're against this. Like it's it's basically just like a nationalism and been reframed in like a religious sense. So yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, and
That is interesting.
And anti-Zionist Jews are ignored all the time.
yeah,
And there's a case in point there that you have to fall on certain political lines, and people's Jewishness is called into question in terms of their relation to Israel.
Absolutely. We've got a few more comments left. Almost there. Gilby said, "Who should the Greens put forward? Wonder if Reform will put a big name candidate to capitalise on the Burnham attention of shouldn't be Polanski at the moment." I think everyone's in agreement that it shouldn't be Polanski.
I mean, he's already ruled himself out. I mean, the two names that are floating is obviously Mothin Ali, deputy leader, who obviously has already put his hat in the ring. Hannah Spencer hasn't officially said anything, but a lot of people. I mean, it is the Twitter sphere, but a lot of people expect him to say so. I don't know. I mean, like, to be honest, it doesn't. I mean, the Greens, apart from the leadership, don't have big names. But that's okay because the Greens as a party is doing well, and they're very good at campaigning. So
I don't think they should focus on this winning a seat in this sense. I think we just need to keep sort of like the momentum going and the conversation going, and that's what we should focus on rather than small wins here and there.
Agreed. I agree with that.
yeah.
Boone said the party of nasty factionalism did a nasty factionalism.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then Specs, obviously we spoke about this, but I'm guessing it's the software they're using, and I think Curtis did explain that, but I just started that as a means to explain, but then Curtis already did that.
One day we're gonna have like super like amazing software in a studio, and it's gonna be incredible. Like, it's gonna be amazing.
Michael said blocked Burnham so Wes can launch a bid. I thought that was quite an interesting comment. I think it's just one of those things that we just have to wait and see, really. But either way, I think Starmer's fucked. Like, even if they didn't block Andy, he would have been fucked. Blocking Andy, he's still fucked. Like, I just think the Labour Party in and of itself is fucked, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I was actually talking to Gary Stevenson about this like earlier today because he's seen me with Andy Burnham like once on a video. He thinks we're best friends now. I'm not, guys. I'm sorry.
Hey, you got to fucking do it.
I know. Yeah.
Big yourself up.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
But yeah, I have heard that like there's like this Wes Streeting, he wants to run for PM, but Gary's like a betting man, isn't he? So he's always telling me like all the different what the betting markets are saying and all this. And he was saying since he's blocked Andy Burnham, his popularity has gone even further down. So well, obviously, I mean, it's shot himself in the foot, but it's just self-annihilation at this point.
I think Michael makes a good point as well. I think a part of that was to do with the fact that they want Wes Streeting because
it's more right.
Look, it was NEC. I actually don't know the breakdown of who was on the NEC. I know that Lucy Powell voted to keep Andy Burnham or not block him. Shabana Mahmood abstained.
Yeah.
The other 8 members who voted to block him, I don't know who they were. But these people are probably not banking on the fact that Keir Starmer is going to be Labour leader.
Yeah.
What they're worried about in the Labour machine is they do not want the Labour Party to even go back to the soft left. Not the left, but because Andy Burnham is not radical left. He's very soft left. They don't even want to do that. So they're thinking, look, if we block Andy Burnham, it's not even probably about protecting Keir Starmer per se. It's about protecting the very, very right-wing clique in the Labour Party, and it must stay its course. Because Wes Streeting will go even more to the right than Keir Starmer, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He will make sure that he privatises our NHS fully. So I think that was about protecting not necessarily Keir Starmer, but protecting the right-wing leadership of the Labour Party. Andy Burnham was the threat to that. Andy Burnham absolutely would have stood, and he would have trounced Keir Starmer. And I don't think he even would have pulled the party to the left, because even if he's like, look, I want to nationalise public industry, I want a wealth tax. I mean, look at the difficulty Jeremy Corbyn had controlling the party.
Yeah.
I don't think Andy Burnham would have had to bring the machine with him, and they would have done everything to stop him. So, but that's they're a party of bastards. They're a party of soulless bastards.
Agreed. And just last comment, Reform are just the Conservatives in a teal ribbon. They are the same old, profiting off people and giving nothing back but hollow words and lies.
Yes.
Well said, Becca, and I think it's a perfect way to conclude Monday's show. So, on that note, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Brilliant stuff. That is, of course, we have a bit of a mind blank then. That is, of course, we'll have time for. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Of course, thank you so much, Louisa, for joining me tonight. You've been absolutely fantastic.
Thanks, Curtis. So nice to see everyone again, even if you're just like in the comments. But yeah, we'll be back again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know you're very busy with PhD stuff. Once that's all cleared, you'll be on the show again. Of course, we love having you on. Remember to like this stream, and if you're not a subscriber, then please hit that button. If you want us to grow, then you can head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There is a link to our Patreon where you can support us monthly, or follow the other link to give us a one-time contribution. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube member for just 99p. Thank you so much, and I will see you on Wednesday.